Hello, this video highlights Long Canyon Road in Moab, Utah. It's a fun little road that just about any all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle can make, unless it's been raining or snowing recently, in which case I'd say avoid it. This one's going to start in Moab, head north towards Arches National Park, and a few hundred yards before the entrance to Arches National Park, you'll see a road on the left called Potash Road, which backtracks a little bit and then parallels along the Colorado River. You're going to follow that for a few miles till you get to the Long Canyon Road, which will be on the right. This little video clip here shows you what kind of the final stretch of highway looks like before on Potash Road before you turn onto Long Canyon Road. You'll see it right there on your right. You're going to cross over those railroad tracks, and once you hit it, you'll see a little parking lot where people park to do some mountain biking or hiking. Pull up to this sign right here, and I encourage you to pause real quick and look over your right shoulder. You'll see a natural arch called Jug Arch. Not necessarily the most spectacular arch in the area, but a natural arch nonetheless worth taking a peek since you're right there. At this point, go ahead and start heading up the road, and while you're heading up this road, especially in the lower parts of the canyon, keep your eyes peeled for wildlife, particularly for desert bighorn sheep. They are in the area, though I'll tell you they're really hard to spot. They blend in surprisingly well in the terrain, so you know if they're not moving, they're really difficult to see, but they are there, so keep your eyes peeled. Other things that I would encourage you to do while you're driving up this road and just enjoying the scenery in general is, if you have binoculars and you're not the one driving, or a telephoto lens on your camera, look towards the tops of the cliff edges on the right and on the left, and there's a lot of little arches, just interesting things in general, but it's kind of fun to see how many little arches you can see up near the tops of those cliff edges. There's actually quite a few. Now, one interesting area I'd encourage you to maybe stop if there's no traffic in front of you or behind you is right here, this little hoodoo, I guess you would call it, on the right as you're heading up the hill. Kind of an interesting spot to get a quick picture if you want to. And then from that location, if you look up, as you're seeing in the video right now, about 200 yards up the road, just to where the road kind of veers off to the right out of sight, there's a parking spot right there on the left. And as you see, we pull up here, this parking spot, you can pull in there, and it's a neat little spot to maybe just have a picnic or take a quick break, take some photos. There's some more little interesting hoodoo rock structures right there that are interesting to just kind of climb on, explore, check out. Anyways, we thought it was pretty cool. We also used this area as an opportunity to get out and fly the drone around for a minute, just to kind of see the lower half of the canyon from a different perspective and get a little closer to the tops of those cliff edges, just to get a better view of what they look like, since they're pretty high up there. It's hard to see from down on the road. So anyways, fun little spot to get out and fly the drone and just see things from a different perspective as well. too far from that spot as you continue to head up the road that you'll start getting into the steeper climbing section, or the switchback section of the road. This part, again, if you're in an all-wheel drive vehicle, just and they usually do a pretty good job of keeping this road relatively clean and tidy, but any all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle can make it, unless it's been raining or snowing. My wife and I came up here when it had recently snowed, just a light layer of snow, and it was crazy because it was like putting KY jelly on a sheet of glass. It didn't matter if you had four-wheel drive, you just would slide everywhere, not somewhere where you want to be sliding. So again, I would just do this trail if if the conditions are dry. If they're dry, you should be fine. But anyway, you'll start climbing up the steeper portion and really kind of start the second half, the upper half of the canyon, where there's a lot of switchbacks, a lot of climbing, and you're going to start having some really cool, vistas or vantage points to really look back and see the canyon from up above looking down. Now, as you get closer to the top of the canyon road, there'll be a number of spots where you can easily pull over, and little parking spots where you can get out and take pictures. But as you get closer to the top, you're going to come up to one of the highlights of this trail, in my opinion, which is the opportunity to drive through this little tunnel, or I mean, really what it is just a ginormous boulder or piece of the cliff that at some point fell off, and the road goes right through the opening there. There's plenty of clearance. It looks smaller than what it actually is. It's actually quite large, and you can easily fit your vehicle through that. I've got a pretty decent lift on my truck and had plenty of clearance, so you'll be fine. But anyways, it's kind of a fun little highlight to drive through that and take a couple pictures like we did here. Now, after you've gone through this section and taken a couple photos, you'll be really close to the top of the mesa. There's just a couple more switchbacks, and then you'll be up at the top. And the final little stretch that you're seeing right here is the steepest part of the entire road. Video never does justice for how steep it is, but it's kind of steep. But at the top of this little section right here, there's quite a bit of parking area where you can easily pull over and park. And I'd encourage you to do so and get out and just walk over to the edge of the cliff. You can actually go on either side. It's kind of like a peninsula that comes out, so you can go we went on the right side, could have easily gone over the left side and looked down upon the road that we just came up. But this is a great spot to just kind of hang out, take some photos. If you've got your drone, pull it out, fly it from here, and just really beautiful from up here, and opportunity to get some great photos as well. Now, if you're not deathly afraid of heights, suffer from vertigo, or are just kind of clumsy in general, then there's some pretty cool photos you can get near the edge of the cliff up top here, though I certainly do not encourage or recommend it. But there are some cool photos nonetheless that could be taken. Other than that, at this point, you're pretty much at the end, near the end of Long Canyon Road. The road continues on for a few more miles. It's relatively flat from this point forward before you hit up with a highway. Once you hit up with a highway, you've got a couple of interesting choices to make. You can go left, and you're only about 5 minutes away from the entrance into Dead Horse State Park. Or you can go right, and you're less than 10 minutes away from the entrance into Canyonlands Island in the Sky District. So I'd encourage you to go check both of those out, as they're both beautiful areas. Other than that, appreciate you watching the video. Have fun in Moab, and give me a thumbs up if you liked this video and found it helpful.